Welcome back to Manifest 360, the podcast where we explore the connection between mindset, energy, action, and creating the life that you truly want. Today we're talking about two of the most powerful words that can be out there. They can dramatically influence your future: money and mantras, also the name of Vipin's book. Money is one of the most emotionally charged topics of our lives. For some people, it represents freedom. For others, it creates stress, anxiety, or even guilt. At the same time, mantras have been used for centuries as tools to focus that mind, shift perspective, and reinforce intentional thinking. So here's the question. What if the biggest obstacle standing between you and the greater financial abundance isn't your bank account, but the story you're telling yourself about money? In this episode, we're talking about these two things. Vipin, the name of your book, it's what we're talking about today. Money and mantras, my friend.
That's right. Money, money, money. And mantras. Yeah, it's a title that was given to me by my literary agent, who's a famous New York City literary agent. And I loved it immediately when she first mentioned it. Your book is about this. And I was like, wow, it's catchy. And I loved in the intro that you said money is one of the most charged words in society today, especially I think in Western society. We don't like talking about money. We don't ask people what they do for money. People in other cultures, like Indian culture, one of the first things that an auntie or uncle or friend would ask, so what do you do for work? It's kind of a silly thing, but we don't really ask, and we don't want to talk about money. And money is sometimes by certain faiths considered the root of all evil. It's not. It's necessary for everything that we do. Maybe the greed or just a desire for money and accumulation is considered bad, but I think it's a tool, just like anything else. And then mantras are also a great tool for centering your mind, like you said, shifting your energy, shifting your thoughts. Your thoughts make up your energy. Wherever your attention goes, your focus goes. And mantras have been practiced, like you said, by centuries by Hindu monks, Christian monks, in the form of prayer or repetition. Mantras really are just phrases that you repeat over and over again. So the Hindu, Buddhist, and Christian monks repeat them. I'm sure other religions do too. I just don't know much about the other religions. So mantras are a great way to center your thing, center your mind, center your mindset, center your thing, as I called it, whatever that thing is, between our ears. So that's the topic of the book. It's broken up into many sections, but the biggest thing that I talk about, and that you've heard me talk about in this podcast, Bob, you and I have talked about it quite a bit, is really about creating an inner alignment with your true self. So what is your true self? True self is groundedness in, we use that mantra, I'm calm, centered, and loving. When you're centered and focused and secure in your basic needs are met of safety, of food, shelter, clothing, and then you can look at, once those basic needs are met, and most of us in modern society, most of those needs are met. There are certainly people that are struggling. I don't want to belittle that, and I want people to come out of those situations, and I think our tools can help those as well, provide more stability. But really, it is about your thinking. It is about how your mindset, like you said, and it's how you take action based on the mindset and belief. You can think and meditate and do all sorts of stuff all day long, but unless you take action, unless you decide what it is that you want, that's the next step, is focusing on your desires. Maybe some people just want to make sure they have enough savings in the food bank, in their account, so they have some safety. That's a great start for a lot of us. Go ahead. You were going to say something?
So, yeah, I was going to ask, has your mindset on money changed? Because I know that when I was growing up, my parents were really good about telling us to save. And my dad always used to say that those that understand interest make it, those that don't pay it. And that's kind of something that I've lived with my entire life. Whereas, the only debt that I really have is the house. I paid for my car. I paid for all my toys with cash, or pay them off immediately, just so that way, I own them. I don't like owing people money, and that's something that I learned early on as a child. And I know that, like with my ex-wife and with Monique, I've taught them both how to save. I've taught them both how to manage their money a little bit better than the way that they were raised. And I'm just wondering if you, Vipin, have the same mindset with your money that you did when you were, a young man, compared to, us being middle-aged now or older than middle-aged.
Yeah. That's a great question. Let me think about that. While I think about it, I want to reiterate that phrase that you said. I think I'm going to use it later, or maybe in the book somewhere. Basically, you said money is about interest. Those who make it make it. Those who don't. I don't know exactly.
Those who understand it make it, and those that don't pay it. So money is interest. Those that understand interest make interest. Those that don't understand it pay it.
Yeah. That's amazing. So I have a very interesting perspective on money and mantras and on money mindset. I grew up in a family where mom was the ultimate saver. She would buy things with coupons. She would buy things on sale. She would do everything that she could to save money. And then my dad always bought things with a really high quality. Really, he believed in buying things just once, not to buy cheap things. And my dad and I would sit around and watch TV. And I have a story in the book about watching lifestyles of the rich and famous. And I forgot the guy's name, but a story that stood
Robin Leach.
Robin Leach.
Robin Leach was the guy's name. Lifestyles of the rich and famous.
Yeah. And one of the stories that he had was of an Indian guy. This is back in the 80s, I think, mid 80s. He had a Indian guy who left India on a container ship to Italy and snuck out on a container ship and somehow ended up in Canada. And this Indian guy ended up becoming a gigantic real estate mogul and worth a couple of $100 million. And he's being interviewed. He's in a downtown condo. If you've ever been to Vancouver, BC, Vancouver, British Columbia, is very similar to Seattle, but it's just got tons of towers, just like Toronto, tons of towers and condos downtown. It's a very livable city. It's considered probably the most livable downtown area in the world. It's this wealth that this guy created, and he was spending the rest of his life giving it away to people who were less fortunate. That story stood by me because it represented two things. It represented the fact that he created freedom for himself, freedom to live the way he wanted to. And then he created the opportunity to give back to society and to people of need. Those are two values that I hold regarding money. Money to me represents freedom to be able to do what I can with the time that I have. Time is a great resource. And so money to me has always represented freedom, and I've always wanted to create that. The second thing it does is allows me to contribute to society, allows me to help the people in need. So that's what I've been driven by most of my life. Now, there are many ways to have freedom. One of the biggest things that we'll talk about in the next few minutes is freedom of thought. There's been research done in saying that we are basically prisoners in our own mind of the thoughts that we entertain. So there was a group of billionaires, or essentially billionaires, who got together in the 1920s. And this is from a book, I believe it's called Science of Getting Rich. And one of the stories that was mentioned in that book, or by Bob Proctor, who was representing this book in a speech. Bob Proctor is a famous philosopher on science and manifestation, and he's one of the original guys that motivated Tony Robbins. And he says all these guys got together. They were essentially billionaires at the time, and they were so contractual in their mind, they were miserable. Almost all of them lost all their money. Almost all of them died of miserable deaths, a couple of them by suicides. And
that's not good.
So money does not buy happiness. We all say that. Money helps with happiness, but it's the thought process in your mind. Either you have money or you don't. The research that I was talking about was also around how much money do you need to be happy? And at what level do your basic needs in society are met? And so the number for the U.S. marketplace, and most of our listeners are in the U.S., are pretty much happy. And what stops the basic needs is around 90 grand. So if you're
Is that
annually,
per year? Is that per year? Or is that in
I
savings?
think it's per year.
Okay.
So what that means is not that you need 90 grand to be happy. It's that anything over 90 grand doesn't add to your happiness level.
Oh, got it.
Got it. So anything over that amount, it doesn't matter what your thought process is, as long as your basic needs are met. Now, what contributes to happiness is multiple factors, and we're not here talking about happiness. That's not the topic of the book or the topic
Mhm.
of whatever, but it's about being fulfilled in whatever that you're doing. So peace to some people is happiness. Excitement to some people is happiness. Adventure is happiness. You define your own happiness, whatever level you define it. But it
Mhm.
comes from a level of thinking in your mind of the circumstances that you are beholding. So if your circumstances are A, B, C, D, and they're all terrible and things are going bad, you have two choices. You can say, well, these are learning lessons and I'm going to learn from them and I'm going to appreciate them and I'm going to find a better way. And maybe in like my parents' situation, they saved enough money, even in those situations. My dad ended up with a PhD and a dean of School of Science in India, ended up working, lost his job during the early 80s, ended up working at Target at night, ended up working at a blood lab during the day, and saved enough money. And back in those days, they saved $26,000 to buy a house in Roseville, Minnesota. And
Mhm.
whatever way they figured it out, they bought a house. Their whole thing was, we're here for the kids. We're going to make our kids' lives better. And so from their perspective, it was all a mission of circumstances, doesn't matter. We're going to find a way. And they found a way to make our lives better. And so whatever your circumstances are, it's how you react to them. And that's where money holds a lot of power or guilt and shame and all of that stuff. If you don't have enough, you can suffer. Or you can just say, you know what? Like you said, I'm going to make sure that I make $1.50 per product, and $1.50 adds to $40 a day, and then $40 a day adds to, $280 a week. And that's basically a small amount of income, but it's gives you enough for a business that you wouldn't have originally. And that ends up being, X dollars over a year. And so it's beneficial to have a side business that could generate some amount of money for you. So all around this topic that I just talked about, it all comes down to your inner wealth map, is how I describe it. And the inner wealth map is all based on your thinking around safety, your thinking around security, which is the root chakra. I apply the chakra-based system to the inner wealth map. The second one is your desires. What do you want in life? With those desires, if you find a way and to put them down on paper and say, these are the things I desire, and if you do the work, you can come up with a purpose to be able to say, I want a better life. Maybe I'm only making
Mhm.
100 grand this year and I want to make 150 next year. What are the things I need to do? What's my purpose in the next 90 days? What's my purpose in the next 6 months? What's my purpose in the next year? To be able to go build that. But again, it's all your thinking, right? Creating a purpose. And then you need people. And that's where the heart chakra comes in. You need people to be able to help you find a way, a promotion at work, a side gig through people that you meet. You met somebody who offered you an opportunity with a food truck. You're looking at it from that perspective. So all of this chain, you need people, then you need connections and how you communicate, how you market yourself. And then you need some sort of a higher power, some sort of an intuition to guide you. But that higher power is not going to come until you do the work and start to commit and make decisions and go forward. And ultimately, as you go up the inner wealth map to your mindset, to your crown, you start focusing on abundance. Once you start vibrating at that level of thought of abundance and gratitude, you start to attract things at a very high level and a very quick pace.
Absolutely. And another thing too, you have to give it to yourself too and allow yourself to be feeling worthy of financial success. Because I think that a lot of people might have these ideas and think, hey, I can do this. But if you don't think that you're worthy of it, if you don't think that you have the opportunities to do so, you're not going to do it.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I honestly think that. I think that, that you have to give yourself the permission, if you will, to be successful. The
Yeah.
permission to be rich and the permission to do the things that you want to do.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I think I talked in one of the podcasts about a woman that had a book. I went to the Hay Publishing Company, the Hay House Publishing Company. They had a conference on New Age thinkers, and this woman wrote a book called "I Am Worthy" or something about worthiness. And
I
she
kind of
talked,
remember that.
yeah, and we get stuck with our mindset and our beliefs so much so that we have to find a way around them, and not being worthy, not feeling the worthiness based on your circumstances, based on your family background, based on not feeling smart enough, based on not having resources. All these things can get in the way. And so for me, one of the things that I actually practice lately, it used to be a different mantra, but the simple one that I do now is I'm worthy of great health, wealth, and love. And so this is a simple one that I've been doing, not every day, but almost every other day. There's other mantras that I focus on, but it's one that I've been doing for about a month and a half, 2 months. And I focus on health and wealth because no matter how wealthy you are, if your health goes downhill, you're willing to spend almost all of it. And you're going to have to spend almost all of it because health is expensive, and so is modern medicine.
What was that one again? Health, wealth, and what?
Love,
Happiness?
love.
Love.
Yeah. Love from a romantic partner, love from family, love from community, connection with friends. So I'm worthy of health, wealth, and love. Being worthy is not something that you do. It is something that you are.
Or accept. I think that
It's
the word
accepting.
accept is, yeah.
Accepting is
The
the
word
key
accept
word.
is a good word there.
The
Yeah.
acceptance is a great word there. Acceptance of I'm worthy, it gets down to self-worth. Remember we talked about self-esteem and self-worth a few sessions ago?
Mm-hmm.
Self-esteem is based on things that you do. Self-worth is based on what you believe. You are going to get in life, my friend, what you think you're worth. If you don't think you're worth a lot, you're going to make decisions, you're going to take actions, you're going to do a bunch of thinking and a bunch of reality mapping that you're not worthy, and you're going to end up with doing X, Y, Z.
Well, we used to call that self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage. That's right. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
I
Yeah.
mean, when you start thinking negative things, and you're going to end up going down that same crappy path if you're thinking that. But if you're thinking good things, like we've been talking about for the last 2 years, Vip, and if you think it, it'll happen. It's a whole manifestation of things that we started talking about 2 years ago when we first started this podcast. And I was never really a believer of manifestation until we started doing that, and then all of a sudden, things happen.
Yeah.
Because you think positive about it and you work toward those goals, and bam, here we go. I mean, just our conversation has helped me out a lot, as I'm hoping it helped you out a lot as well.
Well, I've got a book deal. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got a book deal. I got paid for it. And I'm going to get paid for it from a money standpoint. I got a literary agent from New York. It's a big deal. That's where all the publishing houses are, right? And so for me, we manifested a book, we manifested a podcast. Now we're going to have to try and error and fix and improve things. And you and I will talk more about that in the next couple of days and weeks. But we got to keep adjusting. I had to adjust in my book marketing for the last 2 years to get this deal done. I just got it done this March. And so for me, it is all about adjusting, adapting, learning as you go and take actions. And so for the focus on money is really a focus on your thoughts. Focus on being worthy, like you said. Focus on acceptance. That's why the sacral chakra, the second chakra, is so important. When you desire something, there's an innate thing that you want. It is part of you. The universe will only give you what you want if you start believing that you deserve it, worthy of it, if you accept that worthiness into it. So for me, personally, I feel I am worthy of XYZ. And for me to get XYZ, I need to be able to do ABCD. I need to be able to take action. I need to be able to do mantras. I spend a ton of my time doing mantras. I woke up this morning,
Mm-hmm.
had some thoughts that I didn't want to have. So I just started doing, before I got out of bed, before I fully woke up, I was doing mantras. And I'm going to tell you a part of this mantra that I was doing this morning. I'm not going to tell you the last part of it, but it's personal. I wanted to shift my thoughts right away in the morning today. And my
Mm-hmm.
thought, one of the mantras that I've been doing a lot lately, and I love it, is I'm lovingly rational, inspired, and grateful. I am lovingly rational, inspired, and grateful. I still believe in the main mantra, I'm calm, centered, and loving. But this one is really interesting for me. Money is a rational thing. Literally, it's about rations, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
rational means rationing things. If you are a person who's scientifically, tangibly living in a world of rational, physical things. That's what money's all about. Money's about giving you stuff: food, shelter, freedom, whatever it is, clothing, travel, cars, airplane rides, whatever experiences that you want to have. Money's a very rational thing. Having it gives you a lot of rational ability to do a lot of stuff. Being inspired comes from innate heart chakra, opening your heart up, comes from the sacral chakra, comes from the sixth chakra with intuition and divinity. Being inspired allows you to dream a little, allows you to play in consciousness, spirituality, vibrations, energy, all of that stuff. Being grateful allows you to say, I have a lot already. I want more, but I'm okay with where I'm at today. That's a
Mm-hmm.
comfort and a secure place to come from. And having those three words allowed me to shift my thoughts this morning. I've been doing it for a while now. Um, Actually, only about a month, this particular mantra. I added the word lovingly to rational. I don't want to be just a rationalist. I want to be inspired. And why I'm talking about it at this particular moment is when you talked about money's rations, right? Rationality.
Mm-hmm.
Inspired comes from mantras. So we live in a rational world. And growing up, and you talked about money mindset, my mom brought the rational part of it. Still to this day, she says, focus on your job, focus on your career. Don't focus on the book. Don't focus on your dreams that you start up. Don't do any of that stuff. Just focus on your job. She's very rational, right? My dad brought in the dreamer side of it. My dad is the one that brought us to the US. My dad is the one that created this opportunity for us, opportunity for you and I to meet in Minnesota in 1980s so that we could be friends. And now keeping up on Facebook and all these things through years, we met and we stayed friends. And here we are doing something about manifestation. So my dad created the
Mm-hmm.
spark, the catalyst. That's what inspiration does. And being grateful allows you to accept it, allows you to acknowledge it, accept it. When you're grateful, you become worthy automatically. I think the most powerful force in the universe, as far as changing your thoughts and changing your beliefs, is gratitude. I really honestly believe gratitude is the number one thing in life that can help you get what you want. You start with what you're grateful for, and then you start
Mm-hmm.
becoming one of the mantras that I'll tell you that I was doing a lot and I still do it. I'm grateful to be a New York Times #1 best-selling author. I'm grateful to God for allowing that to happen. Now, when we sit here 2 years from now, the book comes out and it may not hit the New York Times bestseller. It may only hit a Washington, uh, what is it?
Washington Times or something like that.
Washington Times or Wall Street
Yeah.
Journal. Wall Street Journal. That's what I was thinking about.
Washington Post.
Washington Post.
The
But
Roseville Review.
the Roseville Review, exactly. It may not come there, but does that mean I'm going to give up on it? No. So the Wall Street Journal is what I was thinking. Wall Street Journal top 10 list. Because it's about
Right.
money, right? It's all about rational thinking. And so anyway, so you don't give up on it, but with gratitude, you are able to shift your mindset. So as we think about today, money and mantras, I mentioned a couple of mantras. I think if you're going to focus on getting what you want, the first one is about stability. I'm calm, centered, and loving. That's where you start. If you want to focus on getting what you want, I suggest I am lovingly rational, inspired by a higher power, whatever that higher power is. If you're an atheist, you're probably not going to listen to my podcast. If you're a person of spirituality of any nature, great. Love for you to be involved in this venture of ours, see this thing go to fruition as we build this thing. And then gratitude. I am lovingly rational, I'm inspired, and I'm grateful for XYZ. I'm grateful for this light that I have. I'm just grateful. So that's how the mantras help you. We're not saying leave your rational brain behind. We're saying work within the system, work within the matrix. You're going to have to live in the matrix. We're not getting out of the matrix. You know what I mean? But be inspired by a higher source so you can navigate the matrix and come out on the other end with gratitude and money and a freedom of life that you want to choose and be happy. So it's really is a map. I call it the inner wealth map on how to get what you want in life.
You have any final thoughts today?
Yeah. I asked you a question last week, and we really had a good discussion and a closing remarks based on that, and you really liked it. So today, I want to ask you, what inspires you to be better today or tomorrow than you are today?
That's an interesting question. Freedom has always been something for me. I've always been a person that, it's going to sound weird, and I don't mean to be patting myself on the back, but I'm a person that's good at what I do, but I don't like to have people over me and watching the things that I do.
Yeah.
So for me personally, freedom is what I strive for, honestly, all the time. Freedom from somebody being over my shoulder. My son always says, dollars for hours. And I don't want to be that person that's working dollars for hours for dollars. I just want to be me and enjoy my life and be happy with what I'm given and what I get. Yeah. I don't know if that answered your question thoroughly, but that's kind of what drives me. Is freedom is what drives me.
Yeah. Now let me make another adjustment for a lot of people that are working out there. This is not necessarily for you, but it sparked the thought for me. A lot of us work for the man, work for big corporations, small companies. We have jobs. We work for hours, right? We get paid per hour, whatever that is, comes out to be. We still have freedom in our thoughts and how we do our job,
that's true.
How we do our job really well or not so well. We get to create heaven or hell in that job by responding to situations and thinking about situations and having the freedom. If you have the boss telling you, Vipin, I need you to focus on this, this, and this, you can look at it as, God, somebody's controlling me. Or you could look at it as, that's interesting. How can I help you, Mr. Boss, in achieving the goals that you want? You shifted towards helping someone accomplish a goal. You shifted towards
hard to do. How do you do that? How do you change your mindset to do that? Because exactly what you said. If I were to have said that earlier in my life would probably be completely different. But I'm like pig-headed, and it's like, no, don't want to do that. Don't tell me what to do.
It's being mature. It's literally it's a maturity.
There you go. That's a word that I am not.
It's not yet. But I haven't told you to do those mantras. I'm only here to help. I'm only here to help you get what you want.
Yeah,
if you want more freedom in physical activity and rations and rationale, you want to take each opportunity to be able to say, interesting. I'm getting hammered by this guy who's really bright, controlling, bully, blah, blah, blah. Or you could say he's really intelligent and he's got a problem to solve. And his boss is asking for something else, and the board is asking his boss for something else. How do I help them succeed? If I choose the words carefully to help someone, I help my employees that work for me get better at their job. Some of them bicker or are highly emotional. Some of them don't. Some of them don't respond at all. I have to find a unique way to get them to do what I need, just like my boss tells me what I need to do. So it's a chain, but you're only a prisoner of your thoughts if you think you are. And ultimate freedom, the ultimate freedom comes from your mindset. I am free. I get done with work. I usually start my job around 6:37. I go to the gym in that morning time frame, but I'm checking emails, doing stuff. And I usually end my day with 4 to 5, and I'll check emails between 7 and 8 again. I am free most of the time. I'm free to think about the book, about the other side, whatever, but I'm committed during that time to think about the job when I'm focused on the job. But within that, I find meaning, and that search for meaning, which Viktor Frankl wrote, that's one of the keys to life. A search for meaning. And you search for meaning by helping others. How can I help my boss? How can I help my employees? How can I help the company? How can I think about this? How? And the answers will come. How can I help myself be the person that I want to be? You work on yourself. You accept yourself where you're at. You love yourself for who you are. You start thinking and you start doing mantras. I've done mantras on, I love myself and appreciate myself for who I am. I repeat those to myself. I repeated them today at the gym. I love and appreciate myself for who I am. I'm not perfect. I'm overweight. I'm losing my hair. I'm XYZ. It doesn't matter. I accept myself for who I am, And I had a great day yesterday playing golf. I didn't want to go play golf. A buddy of mine asked me to go. I used to play golf all the time. Remember that? I would be out on the golf course and we'd talk about it. And I'm restless. I got stuff to do. I constantly got stuff. So a mantra helped me slow down. I'm calm. I'm centered. I'm loving. I did mantras on the golf course. And yesterday was one of those changed golf experiences for me. It was long. The guys ahead of us did not know what they were doing. The golf marshal was there trying to push them along. They were drinking. They were belligerent. They were slowing us down. And it didn't matter. I stayed in my mind most of the time. And I hit some really good shots and I hit some really bad shots. And I ended up, okay. I came out of there. You know what? That was time worth spending because I got to go out in nature in a sunny Seattle day and I got to live. I got to be grateful for the experience that I had. Now, my friend is like, I'm going to do this XYZ, sell my company, this. My friend's probably worth like $10 million, the guy I played with yesterday. And he's very successful. And he's a miser. He's collecting balls from the water. He's got a little scooper. He collected like 10 balls yesterday. And I'm like, you're crazy. And then he says, I just want to sell my company and play golf all day. I don't want to play golf all day. That's not my deal. I want to help people. I want to intellectually be challenged. I want to read. I want to write. I want to motivate people. I want to go do stuff. And golf is great once a week. I am not going to play golf every day. That's waste of 5 hours of my time if I'm going to do it every day. That's waste of a life, in my opinion. If you're a professional, great. I'll watch you play professionally and I'll watch you in the tournaments, but that's not how I want to spend my time. So anyway, lasting words, lasting thinking, you want freedom? It's in your head. Most of us think, and I have to remind myself, most of us think freedom means options. We have options to help others in our jobs, options to help ourselves, and then live in gratitude. So the mantra for today, mantra that I've been doing a lot lately, I would say progression of life in the sense, I'm calm, centered, and loving is the base one. You always got to do that one because that's where this all starts. The next one to get what you want is I'm lovingly rational, inspired, and grateful.
And that wraps up this episode of Manifest 360. If today's conversation sparks something in you, don't just think about it, apply it. Alignment isn't a vibe, it's a practice. Belief, emotion, strategy, and action, all moving in the same direction, that's where momentum lives. Be sure to follow, share with someone building something meaningful, and join us next week as we continue helping you manifest wealth and purpose. Manifest 360 is a podcastforhire.com production.